So they brought these tribes in to sign a treaty. The Greenville Treaty with the Miami tribe. There were 6 or 7 different bands that made to help the American government win its freedom. And then 3 times they went to sign the treaty, 3 times they were attacked. So that's when we fled. Rocky Boy was born in Wisconsin on the way out this way. And we were going to travel around White Earth and Red Lake because they were angry with us for helping the government. And those are our bands that make up our tribe. So we traveled west of it. And right there is where we split up. Little Shell Indians, that's not really their name. They got stopped there. It was ordered not to leave them. It's not like that the government rights. So they said, what are we going to do about those Indians up at Turtle Mountain? So that's how they got the name Turtle Mountain Indians. And I want to explain that particular band. So what happened is, this Little Shell would not sign a treaty. He wouldn't sign any treaty unless he talked to his uncle, who was Jim Gopher's dad. His uncle, Gopher. So anyway, Little Shell leaves the treaty signing time, comes up to Wolf Point, and at that time Jim Gopher was 3 years old. 3 years old. So when he goes back to Turtle Mountain, that agent asked him, where were you at? He said, I went to see my uncle. He's Anishinaabe. So this white guy didn't fully understand, and he only knew what Assiniboines lived out there. So he asked his people. He said he went to visit his Assiniboine relatives, and his own people said we're not related to the Assiniboines. But that guy shows a misunderstanding. So when that agent could not reach a treaty agreement, Little Shell's bunch was kind of pushed to the side, and there was only maybe 32 of them. That's just what's right here, probably right now. And he took these fur traders, Ojibwe women, and their children, who they called half. I'm making that word up. They made that word up. They turned, because the order at that time, from 1855 all the way to 1870, was kill the full-blood, spare the half-breed. And that's the truth. So because they could, Turtle Mountain could not reach, and Little Shell would not sign, they used the half-breeds and had them sign the treaty. And then this gets interesting. Some of the full-bloods in Turtle Mountain, they left. Some came to Montana, and some came into Winnipeg. And I know their families. My mother-in-law is a Denver. She's one of the original ones that went east, her family. Her mother's grandma, they went into Winnipeg. So we have relatives in Winnipeg that are landless. They don't have a reservation. They live just the way we did it as urban natives. Some lived outside of Winnipeg. And that's where they kind of come from. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know who Jim Bacon is. You remember Jim Bacon? Any of you? Well, Gandhi Bacon was Little Shell's nephew. He was full of Ojibwe. So that's how they came out this way. They came west. And when we split up along the west side of our sister brother tribes, Whiter today will tell you that they had 11 relatives living on Hill 57. They sent somebody out to the hill and had them count 11. But see, they didn't want those Turtle Mountain Indians back into Whiter territory or Red Lake, even though there are bands that make up our tribe. So, some of the Gophers, from what I understand, we'll use Gophers because that's a big name. Under Iantoes is Seaks. There was a small group that shot around up on the other side of the Great Lakes through the Red River. The Indians are part of our relatives too, that crossed from the northern side of the lakes up into Goshen. So the Gophers, there are our relatives. And then my grandpa, Jim Gopher, and his grandfather shot up there and was staying in Goshen further down south. And a crossing point was at Wood Point. Well, anyway, Little Shell sent for his uncle. He sent two brothers north into Canada. Them two brothers, I don't know their names, you know, but I know how they gave reference to their names. Red Thunder was Little Shell's second in command. So because you couldn't travel, imagine that, you couldn't travel, you needed a piece of paper from an agent, but you had to get a piece of travel. So when they caught him in Canada, they said, "Who are you?" He said, "Red Thunder." That's how the Red Thunder came there from Turtle Mountain area to coming down. So they went up and got him, and he came down, got Jim Gopher's father and grandfather down. And what they told him is, "Go home and take care of your people. Go home there to Turtle Mountain." When it's documented that Little Shell didn't want to be there, he said, we're making our way home to our ancient lands to heat up. So Rocky Boy did make it across through Swift Current on the Canadian side. He shot too far into up north, Rocky Mountain. He was born in Wisconsin, and those Indians there, they're called Ho-Chunk. So when they were nestled in Rocky Mountain House, and Rocky Boy left there, and his sisters married there, they were called Ochis. You see the variance in names? You could probably take some of the blood from that reservation and match it right up to the Ho-Chunk Indian Reservation and their blood. And they have the story there of the Great Migration, talking about us and us being the lost Ojibways. Really deep, ain't it? Mm-hmm. See, the government don't want you to know. They don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to see that. And our meeting point here when we hit our ancient lands was what?